Exclusive contract from Feilu Novel Network. Strength first. I have the ability to read minds. I, Sikong Wuye, have the art of reading minds. So let me listen to what they are all thinking next. Airi Sakura. I want to marry Noye. Ai Zehui. No knight, please date me on the premise of marriage. Zhu Zuo Zhi. Sikong Wuye, this bad guy, actually made me his nanny. Do you want to warm up the bed? Horiko Suzuki. Wuye, this guy was actually invited by his brother to join the student union. Compared to no knight, my black history is nothing at all. But you actually know my secret, so I'll have to marry you. Ichinose Hanbo. Wuye is so popular, can I really compete for itSikong Wuyue? 6. Welcome to Tongwen in the Strength First classroom. This book is about the harem. Because it is a daily routine, there is some slow heating. Please forgive me. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. My Childhood Sweetheart, Airi Sakura. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. On April 1st, it is the day for the enrollment report of Tokyo Metropolitan High School of Education, so first that your high school students are waiting for the shuttle bus in the waiting area. The special car will be responsible for transporting the new students to the school gate. At this moment, the freshmen waiting for the special car were secretly scrutinizing one of the teenagers holding a mobile phone. The boy was wearing the school uniform of Tokyo Metropolitan High School, which not only outlined his slender and even figure, but also highlighted his identity as a freshman in the first year of high school. The young man had jet black hair, a well-defined face, a straight nose, and a handsome face that made his peers around him shine brightly. At the age of 17, his handsome young face still exudes a hint of immaturity, but his black and white eyes exude a calm and peaceful gaze, which makes him look somewhat out of sync with his youthful appearance. The gaze and temperament of a person change through experience, and a teenager with the ability to read minds and strong learning abilities has a much older psychological age than their actual age. The boy named Sikong Wuye looked at his phone and murmured to himself, since landing on this island, there has been no signal on his phone. Tokyo Metropolitan High School is a school built on a huge island, with only 2 bridges connected to the island. It is said to occupy an area equivalent to a city. After these freshmen set sail on this island by ship, their phones lost signal. This situation did not cause too much anxiety and panic among the freshmen, as they were already aware of some special circumstances in Tokyo's highly developed higher education institutions before enrollment. Tokyo Metropolitan High School is one of the most prestigious schools in the neon industry. In addition to the latest equipment, it is said that the school atmosphere is also extremely free, and hairstyles and uniforms can be adjusted according to personal preferences. The biggest selling point of this school is that it boasts a 100% admission rate and employment rate. However, once entering this school, unless it is due to special circumstances such as dropping out, one is not allowed to enter the campus without permission for 3 years, nor can one contact the outside world. It's like cutting off all contact with the outside world. Airi Sakura thinks this is a good thing. Because I can spend 3 years of wonderful time with my childhood friend Sikong Wuye at the island school. Sakura, Airi and Sikong Wuye are childhood sweethearts, but compared to Sikong Wuye's dazzling appearance, she appears much more low-key. Wearing a school uniform, Airi Sakura did not dress herself up. Her beautiful face was not adorned with makeup, and she even deliberately wore flat glasses, using drooping fiery red hair bangs and flat glasses to conceal her own beauty. The so-called flat glasses refer to glasses with lenses that do not have any degree. The reason why Airi Sakura dresses like this and hides her beauty is due to her personality. Airi Sakura is extremely afraid of strangers. She is afraid of contact with people, afraid of looking at others, afraid of living in places where many people gather, and particularly resistant to attracting attention. So, teenage girls are showcasing their radiance and charm, while the shy Sakura Airi only hides her own existence. If you want to ask Airi Sakura how scared she is of life just like now. Akira Sakura and Sikong Wuye are childhood sweethearts who are intimately connected. But due to Airi Sakura's extreme fear of strangers, she dared not stay with Sikong Wuye in places where others were present. Because Sikong Wuye, who emits dazzling light like the sun, will attract everyone's attention. Airi Sakura knew that if she stayed by Nocturne's side, she would definitely be looked at by others. So while waiting for the bus, Airi Sakura deliberately kept a short distance from Wuyue, so that no one could tell that she and Wuyue were childhood sweethearts. Although Airi Sakura is extremely afraid of strangers, she is particularly natural and bold when spending time with her childhood friend, Noye, in private, and she is completely not afraid of strangers. Be shy and avoid others. Passionate about nature without night. This is Sikong Wuye's childhood sweetheart, Sakura Airi. With her head hanging down, Airi Sakura secretly gazed at Wuyue not far away through her fiery red hair. She saw Wuyue's helpless expression due to the lack of signal on her phone, and couldn't help but feel a sense of joy in her heart. Because before landing on this island, Airi Sakura had been chatting with Noye using Line software, so she felt that her childhood sweetheart was feeling distressed because she couldn't chat with her. Unfortunately, my courage is too timid to chat with Wuyue in front of others. Ai Sakura, who was secretly glancing at Wuyue, thought silently in her heart. Because Airi Sakura wanted to be with Noye openly, she repeatedly wanted to change her overly shy personality, but she always couldn't change it. Due to the lack of signal, the manga on his phone could not be updated. Wuyue had to take his phone back into his pocket and turned his head to his childhood sweetheart who had been secretly watching him. Dressed in a rustic and unadorned attire, her beautiful face is obscured by drooping bangs and plain glasses. At first glance, she appears to be a rustic girl with little female charm. But Noye knew how beautiful and seductive Sakura Airi was after taking off her heavy disguise. Airi Sakura had overly mature limbs in her youthful age, and her skin under her school uniform was very transparent and snow-white. Her naturally passionate smile was even sweeter than honey. And the beauty that belongs to Airi Sakura has only been witnessed by this childhood sweetheart, Wuyue. Airi Sakura also felt that she could only let Noye see her own beauty. Due to Airi Sakura's constant secret gaze on Noye, she immediately noticed his sideways gaze. Sakura Airi was startled, and then she timidly moved a few steps to the left, widening the distance from Wuyue. At first glance, it was Airi Sakura who was scared by Noye's gaze, but both Noye and Airi Sakura knew that she was just shy. At the same time, Airi Sakura's move is also telling Noye not to come and bully her. Airi Sakura's behavior was like that of a frightened little rabbit, and her overly cute reaction couldn't help but make Noye smile. Due to Noye's deep understanding of Airi Sakura's shy personality, he did not go to talk to her and pass the time. Chapter 2. Sikong Wuye's mind-reading ability. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After about 3 minutes, the shuttle bus drove over, and the long-awaited new students, Wuyue and others, all set foot on this bus. However, Wuyue noticed that 2 or 3 members of society who were not wearing school uniforms also got into this car. Are they teaching staff working in this school, or are they family members of the school's teaching staff? Without hesitation, Noye walked towards the back of the car and sat down in the empty seat. Sakura Airi, who had been staring at Noye, mustered the courage to accelerate his pace and directly occupied the vacant seat next to Noye. Ha! Noye looked at Airi Sakura sitting next to him in surprise. Now, Wuyue, this childhood sweetheart, is tightening her delicate body, her head drooping, and her fiery red hair and bangs hanging down cover her face and expression. Even though Noye couldn't see Airi Sakura's expression now, it was evident from her tightly clenched hands that she was very nervous. You've grown up, you dare to sit with me now, Noye chuckled as she taunted her beloved wife, Airi Sakura. Please. Akira Sakura, who was nervous and shy, whispered, No night, please don't talk to me now, I can't breathe anymore. Wuye twitched her lips and said, okay, Airi Sakura is still that Airi Sakura. She's still so afraid of strangers. No knight knew that Airi Sakura would sit next to him, not knowing how much determination and courage he had mustered. The driver in charge of driving shouted to the group of people who had not yet boarded the dedicated bus, it's already full. You can wait for the next dedicated bus. I don't know. Why is that so? The freshman who couldn't get on the special car first complained, but the driver didn't take care of them. He pressed the button to close the door, and the open car door closed accordingly. The special car began to slowly drive towards the direction of the school. As the car slowly drove, Airi Sakura's inner tension gradually dissipated. However, at this moment, her delicate body suddenly became tense, and her beautiful snow-white cheeks were dyed with a bright red color. Because at this moment, Wuye held onto the palm of Airi Sakura's hand. Ashamed, Sakura Ai pursed her sparkling lips, her drooping fiery red hair covering her moist and rosy cheeks. Sakura Airi did not pull out her palm from Noye's hand, and even took the initiative to hand it over to him, allowing Noye to play with it. Actually, this kind of thing has not happened for the first time. When going to the movies and amusement parks with Airi Sakura at Noye, he would play with her palms. So Airi Sakura has become accustomed to being bullied by Noye like this. Experienced Airi Sakura placed her handbag on her round and slender jade legs, using it to cover the palm that Wuye held with her. Airi Sakura felt the warm touch coming from her fingertips, feeling both shy and stimulated. The surging emotions in her heart almost made Airi Sakura unable to breathe. If she were alone with Noye in private, Airi Sakura's reaction would not be so intense, but the seats in the special car were filled with people, and there were several people standing with handrails. More than 10 minutes had passed, and Airi Sakura's inner shyness and joy had dissipated a lot. She pursed her rosy lips and then stole a glance at Noye sitting next to her. The childhood sweetheart she loved was holding her cheeks with one hand and looking out the window, as if she was focused on admiring the scenery outside. But Airi Sakura kept being teased by the palm of her hand, telling her that part of Noye's attention was on her hand. Wuye seems to have a special fondness for my palms. I need to pay attention and take good care of my hands in the future. Sakura Airi withdrew her gaze from Noye's handsome profile and silently made up her mind. Actually, Noye doesn't have a particular fondness for Sakura Airi's hands, it's just that they're in the car now and it's not suitable to play with other places at this moment. The clear black and white eyes of Wuye revealed a beautiful color. This situation is triggered by the active or passive mind-reading ability of Wuyue. Sikong Wuye possesses the ability to read minds, as well as strong learning and comprehension abilities. And the mind-reading ability of Wuyue can be actively used or passively triggered. Proactively using mind-reading ability can read what others are thinking. However, when using the mind-reading ability actively without night, it will consume a lot of energy, and will cause mental fatigue, requiring sugar supplementation. If the ability to read the mind is passively triggered, the spirit of Nocturne will not be consumed. Now, if the mind-reading ability is actively used without night, it can be used continuously for about an hour without interruption. Although an hour or so may seem short, it is quite convenient for him to use his mind-reading ability whenever he wants, as he can stop reading at any time without sleep. The mind-reading ability of Wuye is completely different from the rebellious Mao in Lu Lu Xiu. He cannot stop reading the thoughts of others, and his whole body is shattered by the constantly transmitted thoughts of others. I don't know who will give me the parking space for this new student enrollment. I remember there will be a reward of 5,000 points later, right? Wuye, whose eyes were flowing with a beautiful light, looked to the right side. Not far away from there was an elderly grandmother standing, supporting the back of the car's seat to maintain her balance. The ability to read the mind passively triggered by Wuye is what I hear from this old lady. In fact, the people sitting near this old lady had already noticed her, but they all pretended not to see her and did not take the initiative to give way to her. Because humans are a combination of contradictions, and selfishness is one of human nature, most people will not actively give up their own interests. So when they noticed the old lady, they pretended not to see her and just wanted to sit comfortably at their destination. Actually, Wuyue felt that he didn't need to give way, because his sharp eyes noticed that this old lady's physical fitness might be even better than some of the freshmen in the car. Because the old lady supported the arm muscles of the seat back, the contours were clearly visible. "Grandma, you are so old and strong. Hey! What does she mean by rewarding 5,000 points? Wuyue began to ponder. This is an island that cannot be freely accessed, so the people on this island are either students or school staff, so this old lady must be closely related to Tokyo's highly educated higher education institutions. So is this a school test? Is it a merit test or something like that? Chapter 3. What is point count? You are listening at novelfull.audio. After pondering for a while, Wuyue leaned towards Airi Sakura, who had been keeping his head down. Airi Sakura didn't lower her head because she realized that the old lady didn't want to give up her seat. She was completely embarrassed because her palms were being played with by Noye, so she kept her head down. After approaching Sakura Airi's ear, Wuyue whispered, "Airi, please leave for a while and let me out. Because Wuyue is sitting in the inner seat, if you want to leave, you have to pass by Airi Sakura's side." The words of Wuyue blew the fiery red hair of Ai Sakura with the breath she revealed, and her ears instantly turned red. "What are you going out for? You haven't even arrived at the school gate yet, haven't you?" said Airi Sakura, feeling embarrassed and puzzled in a low voice. "I plan to make way for that old lady." Wuyue no longer played with Sakura Airi's soft palm and pointed to the standing old lady. Sakura Airi followed Wuyue's fingers and also saw the old lady. She lowered her voice and said, "Wuyue, please continue to sit, I'll go make way." Although Airi Sakura is extremely afraid of strangers, she is a well-behaved and kind person who will take the initiative to give way. But Airi Sakura was afraid of life due to jealousy and couldn't even say if she wanted to make way. However, in order to keep Wuyue in her seat, Airi Sakura took the initiative to get up. Airi Sakura, carrying a bag, timidly walked towards the old lady. Wuyue watched as Sakura Airi's slightly panicked steps revealed a pleased smile on his handsome face. His childhood friend, who is as shy as a deer in the woods, is gradually growing up. Sakura Airi suppressed her panic and unease, and she came to the old lady's side. She whispered a few words to her, and then Sakura Airi led the old lady to Wuyue's side. "Oh my, little girl, you are really a good person. Don't worry, your kindness will definitely be rewarded," the old lady smiled and said to Airi Sakura. "No. I don't need to repay," Airi Sakura clumsily replied. After taking away the old lady in Sakura Airi, everyone sitting nearby breathed a sigh of relief. Those who needed to make way left, and those sitting there no longer felt that much pressure. At this moment, Wuyue also left his seat and pointed to the innermost seat. "You can sit here." Okay. The kind-looking old lady sat in the position where Noye had been sitting before. Airi Sakura gently lifted her head to look at Noye, and Noye thought to her and pointed to the position where she had been sitting before. The meaning of "no night" is understood by Sakura Airi. He asked her to sit down. "But in love, you better be obedient, otherwise I will bully you now." Sakura Airi seemed to understand the meaning in Noye's eyes. With her cheeks flushed, she lowered her head and obediently sat back in her seat. Sakura Airi doesn't dislike being bullied by Wuyue, on the contrary, she is very eager to be bullied by him. Mainly because the venue is not suitable, there are too many people here. The small incident of making way on this special car passed without causing much commotion, and everyone on the car didn't take making way seriously. Standing, Wuyue leaned against the back of the seat where Ai Sakura was sitting, and his dazzling eyes flowed towards the old lady sitting in the seat. "Well, who should I give the points to make way? The girl made way for me, but the seat I was sitting in was not the one she made way for. Let's give it to the girl. She took the initiative to make way for me." The boy can only be considered as making way for her, so it doesn't meet the criteria for obtaining points. Wuyue closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, the bright colors no longer flowed in his black and white eyes. This means that Wuyue has turned off its mind-reading ability. Regarding the situation where Airi Sakura obtained points, Noye had no objections. What he cared about was what the old lady, who was suspected to be a school staff member, had mentioned several times about the meaning of points. Points, it should be related to this school. Do we need to use mind-reading backtracking for her? Wuyue silently gazed at the kind-looking old lady. The ability to read one's mind not only enables one to understand the thoughts of others without night, but also enables one to trace their thoughts and learn more information. If we use mind-reading backtracking for the old lady, perhaps we can figure out what points are. However, mind-reading retrospective can consume a lot of energy, and it is not commonly used by Noye. However, he has decided to use it now because Noye believes that the word points is very important and closely related to Tokyo's highly developed higher education institutions. It should be noted that Tokyo Metropolitan High School of Education has been established for 15 years, and students graduating from here never mention any information related to this school. So the school information obtained online is extremely rare. Now is the opportunity to obtain intelligence without night. After making a decision, Wuyue took out his phone from his pocket, typed out a message, and secretly touched Sakura Airi with his phone. The puzzled Sakura Airi first looked up at his childhood sweetheart, then turned to the phone touching his arm. Airi Sakura saw the text message left by Noye on her phone. Airi, a few minutes later, you whispered the 5 words "what is a point" to the old lady next to you, and no matter what she asked you, you blurted it out. This passage left Airi Sakura feeling confused, but she didn't ask why Noye was there. Instead, she obediently nodded her head, indicating that she knew. Watching Sakura Airi nod his head, Wuyue casually withdrew his phone into his pocket. Simply using mind-reading retrospective requires too much effort, and I don't want to make myself dizzy all night long. Therefore, he asked Airi Sakura to mention points to the old lady. After the old lady's mind and attention are attracted by the points, night-free mind reading can more conveniently and quickly read information related to points from her mind. Simply put, the points mentioned by Airi Sakura will be the bait, and for the fisherman Noye, he quickly fished for the fish known as points from the old lady's mind. Airi Sakura has been silently reciting time in her heart. As long as it's a night-long request, she will do her best to complete it. After counting for 180 seconds, Sakura Arimo leaned towards the old lady, and the clear black and white eyes of Wuyue immediately showed a beautiful light. Mind-reading ability, start. What is a point count? Whispered Airi Sakura, who leaned towards the old lady. What? What? You. The old lady's relaxed and kind expression instantly changed, and she looked incredulously at the inconspicuous freshman sitting next to her. Chapter 4. S points. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The silver-haired old lady looked at Airi Sakura with extremely shocked eyes. This little girl actually knows that Tokyo is highly educated and has unique points for higher education institutions. Where exactly did she know the points from? Of course, I learned it from your elderly person's mind. Faced with the surprised expression in the eyes of this unfamiliar old lady, Airi Sakura couldn't help but show a timid expression. She instinctively leaned towards Noye standing beside her. The old lady's gaze was slightly sharp, as if she had been a high-ranking figure for a long time, causing the shy Airi Sakura to develop a sense of fear in an instant. As if realizing that she had scared Airi Sakura, the old lady restrained her sharp gaze and whispered, "So little girl, where did you know about points?" Airi Sakura quickly shook her head, her fiery red hair and bangs fluttering along. "Don't look at me, I'm not good at you. It was my future husband who I believed told me." At this moment, Wuyue pressed her fragrant shoulder with one hand, giving her support and comfort, while the other hand rubbed her eyebrows. Because Wuyue's mind-reading ability read a lot of information related to points from this old lady's mind. As guessed before no night, the points mentioned by the old lady several times are indeed related to the school they will attend next. Tokyo is highly developed into a higher education institution, with a unique system of S-points. S-points can be divided into class points and individual points class points. Each class will have 1,000 class points at the beginning of enrollment. Every student will receive class points multiplied by 100 individual points at the beginning of each month. That is to say, with 1,000 class points, each student will receive 100,000 individual points. And the personal points of students are equivalent to electronic money. Each point can be converted into 1 yuan for use, which can be used in all facilities on school land, and can also be purchased in convenience stores, supermarkets, shopping malls and other places. Providing 100,000 yuan per month is also great. It's really exciting, but the 1,000 class points are not fixed. There are deduction items, such as students making mistakes, losing in competition with other classes, etc., all of which will deduct class points. If the class points are deducted to 0, then the students in that class will not receive individual points. Because if the class points are 0, multiplying 0 by 100 is still 0, my personal points are linked to the class collective. If there are many pig teammates in the class, then the points are not very dangerous. Wuyue pondered to herself. Through the information in this old lady's mind, Wuyue can learn that in Tokyo's highly educated higher education institutions, points are omnipotent. Anything that exists within the school can be purchased. Even if we only need to gather 20 million points, even the class can be changed. But why does changing classes require so many 20 million points? Wuyue delved deeper into the ability of mind reading and backtracking, and was surprised to find that the 100% admission rate and employment rate that this school regards as its selling point were hidden. Among highly educated higher education institutions in Tokyo, only students graduating from Class A will receive a 100% admission rate and employment rate. And other BCD classes will not enjoy the 100% admission rate and employment rate claimed by the school after graduation. If that's the case, I'll have to work hard to earn points in my 3 years of high school, at least 20 million points. Wuyue silently thinks. There is actually another way, which is to lead your class and rush to Class A before graduation, so you don't need to spend 20 million points to transfer to Class A. However, Wuyue is not the kind of person who places hope on others. So Wuyue felt that instead of relying on his classmates for his future and hope, it would be better to find a way to earn 20 million points on his own. American Samoa Noye was organizing the information. The old lady kindly said to the frightened Airi Sakura, "You don't know where you got the points, I can understand. But can you tell me your name? Which class is the new student in?" Swatsang Ai Li, Class D for a year, Swatsang Ai Li timidly replied. Class D. The old lady showed a dull expression. She was actually the worst new student in Class D. She thought Airi Sakura was a student in Class A. Even if it's not Class A, Class B is fine. How could it be the worst Class D? In Tokyo's highly developed higher education institutions, there is a clear division of classes. Excellent elite students will be assigned to Class A, slightly inferior students will be in Class B, while Class C will be slightly worse than Class B. As for the students in Class D, they are probably full of problems and troubles. The old lady looked at the timid Airi Sakura strangely, puzzled and unable to figure out how the new student in Class D quickly learned about the existence of points. In order to assess the quality and ability of new students, it is strictly prohibited for senior students, teachers, and school staff to disclose any information related to points during the first month of school. Although Wuyue has already figured out what points are, what their purpose is, and the rules for class point increases and decreases in his mind-reading ability, he is still not enough. Wuyue wants to obtain more information related to points from this old lady's mind. Just as Wuyue was about to continue obtaining information from the old lady, she stood up from her seat. "Driver, stop by the roadside, I need to get off. This is a direct train, you are not allowed to get off. Ah, it's you, I'll stop right away. The impatient driver of the special car glanced in the rearview mirror, and after seeing the figure of the old lady, he quickly changed his route and parked the car on the roadside. Wuyue glanced at the old lady, her sharp gaze just now at Airi Sakura, and the driver's reaction. She shouldn't be some big shot, right? After the car stopped steadily, Airi Sakura stood up in a panic, giving the old lady space to leave. She took a deep look at Airi Sakura, remembered her appearance in her heart, and then slowly got off the car. After the old lady got off the car, Airi Sakura happily sat in the innermost seat. She blinked at Wuyue and pointed to the empty seat she had been sitting in before. Wuyue smiled at Airi Sakura and sat down rudely. Then he closed his eyes and began to brainstorm how to quickly obtain universal personal points. Chapter 5. Sikong Wuyue's personal experience. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Airi Sakura secretly glanced at Noye and extended his palm towards him, making it easier for Noye to play. However, Airi Sakura waited for a long time, and with her eyes closed, Noye did not play with her palm. This situation made Airi Sakura somewhat discouraged and depressed. Watching the slowly departing car, the old lady took out her phone and contacted a dedicated car. May I ask where you need to go? The driver of the special car respectfully asked the old lady. I'm going to the chairman's office now. I understand. Chairman's office. Chairman Sakayama was flipping through the information and documents of the new students in his office when the door of the office was knocked on and the voice of the old lady came from outside. It's me. Mother. Please come in. It turns out that this old lady is the mother of the school director. No wonder she has a sharp gaze that has held a high position for a long time. Chairman Sakayama looked at the old lady who pushed open the office door in surprise and said, Mother, how did your old lady come here? This old lady had a sudden impulse not long ago and was about to leave her position for assessment. The abdication assessment has ended, the old lady said. I met a strange new student in the car, so I came to ask you for her information. She is a new student in Class D of 1 year, named Airi Sakura. Is it Airi Sakura from Class D for a year? Director Sakayama picked up the neatly stacked documents from the side, flipped through them, and pulled out a thin information file. Here, take a look. The old lady took the document handed over by Chairman Sakayama and carefully read it. Name. Airi Sakura. Occupation. Student ID. S01T004738 Class. Class D. Education Level. C+ Intelligence. C. Judgment. D. Sports Ability. D. Teamwork Ability. D. Interviewer's Comment. This student has an extremely average level in both learning and sports, but has an extremely shy personality and cannot communicate well with strangers, resulting in a huge flaw. The child's data and comments are so average, why did she realize the existence of points so quickly? Said the old lady in confusion, as her ordinary 5-dimensional data and the interviewer's professional language made her look puzzled. Oh. Chairman Sakayama suddenly snapped up, I realized the points just as I set foot on this island. Mom, what have you encountered? Tell me. Due to the school's strict ban on everyone having to conceal the existence of the S system within 1 month of enrollment, new students will not be aware of its existence in the first month of enrollment. However, there are also some extremely outstanding students who have a keen observation ability and discover anomalies in the school through their own observations. But as soon as I set foot on this island, I discovered the points. Is this student too outstanding? The old lady recounted all the things she had encountered in the car, and Director Sakayaji pondered. He spoke up and said, Is there a young man next to Airi Sakura? Oh, how did you know? That young man is quite handsome, and I don't know which class he belongs to. If he were a new student in Class A like Yuchi, that would be great, the old lady said with a smile. Banlu Yochi is the granddaughter of the old lady and the daughter of Banlu director. She is also a new student in this class of A. Chairman Sakayama did not answer the old lady's words. He pulled out another document from the student information of Class D and said, "Mother, please take a look and see if that young man is him." The old lady took the document and looked at the personal photo on it. She nodded and said, "That's right, it's him. It turns out his name is Sikong Wuye. Hey, what is his personal data situation? Name: Sikong Wuye. Occupation: Student ID: S01T004737 Class D. Academic level: A+ intelligence, A+ judgment, A sports ability, A+ teamwork ability. Interviewer's comment: Sikong's tireless learning and sports are undoubtedly at the top level that ordinary people cannot achieve. But Sikong Wuye has no third friend besides Airi Sakura, and he completes both group assignments and sports activities alone. Therefore, there may be deficiencies in the communication and coordination between Sikong Wuye and others. The old lady stared blankly at Sikong Wuye's information and said to Director Sakayama in confusion, "This child's personal data is so exaggerated, why was he assigned to Class D?" Sikong Wuye's personal data, except for group cooperation, is all A or above, making him an extremely outstanding student. Such students will definitely be assigned to Class A. Sikong Wuye was unexpectedly assigned to Class D. The old lady was puzzled. As for the class allocation of Sikong Wuye, you can see it by looking at the records at the back of the materials, said Director Sakayama helplessly. The old lady quickly flipped through the materials to the back. Sikong Wuye is suspected to advocate violence. During my junior high school years, I used violent means to beat up members of society who broke into schools, resulting in 1 serious injury and 3 minor injuries. Afterwards, Sikong Wuye specifically encountered social evils and used various methods to cause fractures and serious injuries, and was sent to the hospital. Due to Sikong Wuye's actions, all of which belong to legitimate defense, he has not been sent to the juvenile detention center. The old lady was numb. She didn't expect the handsome and gentle young man she saw in the car to be such a terrifying violent criminal. Chairman Sakayama saw the old lady's numb expression and said, "Now you know why Sikong Wuye was assigned to Class D." No. What I can't understand now is why the school admits such students. Chairman Sakayama explained, although Sikong Wuye's personal experience may seem terrifying, there is a reason behind it. The main reason is that Sikong Wuye's childhood sweetheart, Airi Sakura, was targeted by a bad group near the town 6 months ago, which forced her to go to the countryside to take refuge. Because of this incident, Airi Sakura's fear of strangers has become increasingly severe, even resisting contact and conversation with strangers. Chairman Sakayama revealed the hidden truth. I see, so is Sikong Wuye retaliating against the bad group for his childhood sweetheart. But his methods and thoughts are so ruthless, the old lady said with a smack of her tongue. Although he was actively provoking a malicious group, every time it was a legitimate defense and acquitted. It can be seen that Sikong Wuye is not a simple-minded violent element. After all, Sikong Wuye is facing unscrupulous members of society who cannot be solved through reasoning, so violence is actually more effective, said Chairman Sakayama helplessly. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 6. Schools with numerous cameras. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In fact, Sikong Wuye is also a very principled person. As long as he doesn't provoke him and his childhood sweetheart, Sakura Airi, then he won't have any problems. The old lady remained silent, feeling uneasy at the thought of the terrifying presence of Sikong Wuye among her granddaughter's peers. In fact, besides the delinquent boy Sikong Wuye, there are several delinquent boys in this new student, most of whom are distributed in Class C and Class D, said Director Ban Lu with a light cough. The old lady is even more numb, let alone a delinquent boy. There are actually other delinquent boys among this new student. This is a highly educated higher education institution in Tokyo, not a juvenile detention center for minors undergoing labor reform. Chairman Sakayama looked at the old lady's numb expression and changed the topic. Mother, I think the person who quickly discovered the points is not Sakura Ari, but Sikong Wuye, who is extremely excellent in all aspects. This kind of thing doesn't matter anymore. I just hope that Sikong Wuye doesn't intersect with Yoichi. No, I shouldn't know. Right. Chairman Sakayama and the old lady gradually entered a state of silence, as they were well aware that Sakayama Yuki, a child, enjoyed challenging the strong and enjoying the joy of defeating them. So once Sikong Wuye stands out, then Sakayaji Yuki will definitely keep an eye on his superior Kongo Wuyue. In short, I think Sikong Wuye is a very principled and good child. He won't mess around. At this moment, Chairman Sakayama identified him as a principled good child and was pondering how to cause trouble. No, Wuyue was thinking about how to score points. One special car after another arrived at the entrance of Tokyo Metropolitan High School of Education, and they, as first-year students, got off one after another and looked towards the school gate. The entrance of the school is made of natural rocks pieced together and processed, with countless exquisite reliefs carved on it, showing its grandeur and solemnity. Following Ayari Sakura behind Noye, she gazed at the school gate not far away. Her heart was filled with anxiety and anticipation, and this school would be the one where she spent 3 years with Noye. Let's go, love. Wuyue casually said. Sakura Airi responded to Noye with an almost imperceptible voice. Due to the uniformed freshman walking towards the school gate, Airi Sakura did not keep a distance from Wuyue. She followed Wuyue step by step like a daughter. Law. At the entrance of the school gate, 4 faculty members are sending admission guides to Wuyue and his high school freshmen. The admission guide records that at 9 o'clock, high school freshmen must go to the gymnasium to gather and attend the opening ceremony. In addition, the admission guide also records the situation and building location of the entire island. Stepping into the school all night, I flipped through the admission guide in my hand. There was a small map on it that recorded the locations of dormitories, teaching buildings, sports halls, as well as many entertainment venues, such as karaoke, cinemas, cafes, shopping centers, and so on. This is not so much a school as a small commercial area, Wuyue sighed softly. Sakura Airi, who was following behind Wuyue, nodded in agreement with him. Ari, look up and see if there are too many cameras nearby, said Wuyue, who looked around. Due to its strong observation ability, Wuyue discovered that there were many unexpected surveillance cameras installed in this school. The camera is like the white eye among Naruto, almost monitoring every plant and tree in the school from all angles without blind spots. The words of Wuyue diverted Airi Sakura's attention from the admission guide, and she also saw the cameras set up around her. There are indeed many cameras. A bit annoying, Airi Sakura murmured. Normal people don't like to be exposed to surveillance cameras, let alone the shy Airi Sakura. Moreover, Airi Sakura also has another identity, which is a blog idol and print model with the codename. She always carries a camera with her and finds a place without anyone else to take selfies. If there were so many cameras in this school, Airi Sakura would no longer have the intention of taking selfies. With so many cameras, you have to pay attention to everything you want to do in the future, Wuyue muttered to himself. Sakura Ari suddenly snapped out of her wits and quickly grabbed the hem of Wuyue's school uniform, earnestly warning, Wuyue, you can't mess around. How could I mess around? I'm not a hot-tempered delinquent. Wuyue looked at Airi Sakura, his handsome face revealing a generous smile. The smile on Wuyue's face stirred Sakura Airi's heart. With a slight blush on her cheeks, she continued to remind her, anyway, you can't act recklessly like in junior high school. I'll worry about you. Okay, I got it. Noye's perfunctory tone made Eri Sakura slightly curl up her sparkling lips. Her childhood sweetheart, whom she identified as her future husband, was a troublemaker who acted recklessly at 9 o'clock. It was the time for the school's opening ceremony. Wuyue and Eri Sakura had already arrived at the school gymnasium, and they stood in line at the predetermined positions in the gymnasium according to their class order. Boys lined up in a row, girls lined up in a row. Eri Sakura felt that her position was very good. With just a slight movement of her eyes, she could clearly see Noye's tall back. Standing up all night, his attention was not focused on the meaningless nonsense spoken by the school board members, but on observing the new student standing in front of him. Due to his ability to read and observe, Wuyue gradually developed the habit of observing others. The girl standing not far ahead is the most attractive to Wuyue's attention. The girl has waist-length black hair, and her right hair is woven into a fried dough twists braid, and ends with a white butterfly. The figure standing straight appears solemn and cold. Wuyue just looked at the girl's back and guessed that she was a cold and difficult to get along with. Horiko Suzuki seemed to sense someone looking at her from behind, so she turned her head and looked expressionlessly at Wuyue from behind. Due to ringtone Horiko's head-turning gesture, Noye could clearly see her face. Horiko ringtone has a delicate appearance that is on par with Eri Sakura, with a pair of orange eyes beneath her slender eyelashes, like the eyes of a fox, full of charm. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 7. Class Teachers T-Pillar and Auxiliary Branch. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Horiko Suzuki had a fox-like charm, but her eyes were clear and cold. Noye couldn't help but wonder if she might be a proud snow fox. Wuyue smiled at Horiko Suzuki, who had turned her head, but she didn't pay any attention to him. She just twisted her head expressionlessly. The opening ceremony has come to an end. Please leave the gymnasium in an orderly manner and return to your class. Your homeroom teacher will issue you with the most important student ID cards. After a lot of empty talk without nutrition, the opening ceremony came to an end. The freshmen left the gymnasium one after another and headed towards the teaching building where they were in their first year of high school. Eri Sakura still followed behind Noye step by step, and the two of them followed their unfamiliar classmates into the classroom with the 1.D sign hanging. Due to the placement of student nameplates on the desks, they can determine their seats based on these nameplates at night. The seat without night is at the back and close to the window. Generally speaking, this position is for the protagonist. After all, the back row by the window, Wang's hometown. Due to the instructions from the opening ceremony, the new students all returned to the class honestly and waited for the homeroom teacher to arrive. They either sat in their seats and looked at the school's information alone, or chatted with others. Wuyue had no intention of making friends with others on purpose, so he sat in his own seat. Eri Sakura also found her own brand and confirmed her seat. Sakura Eri's seat is also in the back row, but she is not sitting at the same table as Wuyue. They are separated by a seat. Although she was in the same class as Wuyue, she couldn't sit at the same table. Eri Sakura sat down in her seat dejected and glanced at the name tag on the table with Wuyue. The name written on the nameplate is Horiko Suzuki. It looks like a girl's name. Sakura Eri's gaze shifted away from the brand, and she looked towards Wuyue. After discovering that he was looking at her side with his chin up, Sakura Eri smiled with joy and shyness. Quickly, Eri Sakura restrained her smile as her realization with Noye was blocked. Horiko Suzuki sat in her seat, her whole body emitting a cold and aloof aura of, "Don't talk to me," and Eri Sakura withdrew her gaze with concern. The idea of swapping positions with this classmate. Eri Sakura dare not say it. "Hey, look at that guy in the corner, he's so handsome." "Indeed, why don't we start a conversation? You go first." You go first. The conversation with the nearby girl group made Airi Sakura even more uneasy, as she noticed that they were all secretly scrutinizing Noye. Airi Sakura not only knows that her childhood sweetheart is very handsome, but she also knows that he is extremely excellent in both learning and sports. Just like the bright moon in the Milky Way at night, shining brightly and filled with a sense of existence. In junior high school, if Wuyue had not caused those violent incidents because of her, he would have been the most popular boy. Now, this is a highly educated higher education institution in Tokyo. Except for Airi Sakura, no one knows about the past of Noye, so he will definitely become the shining moon in everyone's eyes again. Wuyue, who is regarded as a bright moon by Airi Sakura, is watching his desk mate Horiko Suzuki. Although Wuyue knew he was in the same class as her, she never expected to be at the same desk. Fate is such a delicate thing. Why are you looking at me? Said Horiko Suzuki coldly as she put down her bag and looked at Wuyue, because of curiosity. After all, we are classmates who have been in the same class for 3 years, Wuyue answered happily. Humph. Wuyue's answer was reasonable. With a soft snort, Horiko Suzuki stopped caring for him. She took out a book from her bag, and the cover of the book read, Crime and Punishment. The content of that book is roughly. Through the description of different sinners, it shows that everyone lives in a guilty world, so the human heart bears great pain, and people are in conflict between morality and conscience, and between doing good and doing evil. Wuyue's gaze was somewhat strange. He didn't expect that girls of this age group would read such books. Shouldn't girls of this age read books that depict love and beauty? At this moment, the school rang the bell announcing the start of class, and almost at the same time, a woman wearing an OL teacher costume stepped into the classroom. This woman should be the homeroom teacher of Wuyue and their class D. The homeroom teacher is around 27 years old, with long black hair and a simple ponytail. Due to her delicate and fair mature face, she appears dignified. She wore an OL women's suit that was very close to her body, thus outlining her mature and full body curves. The slender legs under the skirt of the suit were dressed in seductive black silk. The dignified and imposing expression, as well as the mature and plump body curves, couldn't help but make people imagine. Many boys in Class D couldn't help but show a dazed expression towards this homeroom teacher. Sakura Airi's gaze shifted from the homeroom teacher who had stepped into the class, and she looked towards Wuyue. At this moment, Wuyue was holding his chin and looking at the homeroom teacher, but his expression and gaze remained unchanged, completely unaffected by the mature homeroom teacher. Upon seeing this, Sakura Airi's heart immediately rose with joy. Zhu Zuo Zhi stepped onto the class podium, putting down the information files she was holding in her hand, and then looked down at the group of new students sitting below with a majestic gaze like a queen. Knight's eyes flashed with a hint of beauty. Is there anyone among this generation of freshmen who can fulfill my expectations, and is there a treasure that can lead Class D to Class A? Without any doubt, Wuyue looked up at Zhu Zuo Zhi, who was looking down on the podium. His mind-reading ability had just been passively triggered, and the target of the trigger was this mature homeroom teacher who was looking down on the new students. New students, I am the class leader of Class D, Zhu Zuo Zhi. The sound of Zhu Zuo Zhi is pleasant and mature, and it sounds quite good. I am usually responsible for teaching neon history. However, this school does not change classes every academic year. Therefore, in the 3 years before graduation, I will serve as the class leader to learn together with you. Please give me more guidance. Sakura Airi's eyes lit up slightly. Teacher Zhu said she wouldn't be divided into classes for 3 years, so that means she will be in the same class as Wuyue for 3 years. Now all the students in the front row come up and pass on the materials to the back. Under the stern command of Zhu Zuo Zhi, the students sitting in the front row came up one after another, took the materials she handed over, and then the students returning to their seats passed the materials on to the students in the back. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. How many points does it take to make a teacher a maid in Chapter 8? You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is information related to the special rules of this school, although it has already been sent to you in the previous admission introduction. After being admitted to this school, the new students like Wuyue will receive materials that record various situations of the school. For example, during the semester, unless there are special circumstances, all external communication and other information are prohibited. However, the information brought by Zhu Zuo Zhi comes with a mobile phone and a student ID card. Campus mobile phones are free of charge and can be used on campus, and your student ID will be bound as long as you write your student ID into it, which is very important, said Chaju Satoshi. I need to mention the special feature of the school here, which is the S system. The student ID will automatically transfer 100,000 points on the first day of each month. After hearing the word points, Wuye's eyes narrowed and Airi Sakura looked at Wuyue in surprise. Because when she was on the special car before, Wuyue inexplicably asked the old lady what points were. Each point is equivalent to 1 yuan, and now everyone should have been fairly distributed 100,000 points, which can be consumed in karaoke, cinemas, cafes, clothing stores, shops, and other places on campus. As Zhu Zuo Zhi's words fell, the students who had already bound their student ID cards exclaimed with surprise, as they had all seen the 100,000 points displayed on their student ID cards. That is to say, they just started school and received 100,000 yuan of pocket money from the school. Ordinary students simply cannot access too much money, so there is an instant commotion in the classroom, constantly ringing with excited and joyful words such as really, great, and being admitted to the school is really great. Zhu Zuo Zhi did not make the freshman quiet down. Standing behind the podium, she awkwardly scanned the expressions of the students. Are they almost all ecstatic expressions? They don't have any doubt why the school treats them so generously, eh? Zhu Zuo Zhi's gaze turned to the two boys sitting by the window in the corner. Their expressions were very plain, and they were not overwhelmed by the 100,000 points. Wuyue smiled at the mature homeroom teacher who looked over, while she raised her delicate eyebrows in a slightly surprised way and then turned her gaze to the boy sitting in front of Wuyue. The boy is looking down at the student ID card in his hand. Ling Xiaolu Qinglong looked at the student ID card displaying 100,000 points, with no joy or sadness on his face. Compared to the points that could be used for consumption, he was now more confused about how high school students get along with each other. Ling Xiaolu Qinglong is an experimental object that came out of a white room, where human rights and emotions are deprived. Therefore, he lacks normal values and doesn't know how to get along with ordinary people. Zhu Zuo Zhi's gaze was drawn back from Wuyue, Ling Xiaolu Qinglong, and their side. She patted her palm and said, "All right, everyone quiet down. I have something else to say." The joyful noise in the classroom gradually quieted down, and Zhu Zuo Zhi opened her seductive lips as she continued. Are you surprised that the school is distributing so many points? This school measures its students based on their strength, and those of you who can enroll also have corresponding values and possibilities. In this regard, the points represent the school's evaluation of you. So don't be polite, just use the points. After all, the school will reclaim these points after you graduate. Wuyue looked at the mature homeroom teacher standing behind the podium. She was trying to persuade. No, she was trying to persuade everyone to spend the points on their student ID with peace of mind. If someone thinks it's not necessary to use points, they can also transfer them to others, but don't make any threatening behavior, because the school is quite strict in dealing with bullying issues. Finally, Zhu Zuo Zhi took a deep breath, her mature chest restrained by the lady's suit undulating slightly. Anything that exists within the school land can be bought, no matter what. Wuyue showed a thoughtful expression, and when Zhu Zuo Zhi said this, he subtly emphasized the importance of points to them. So the question is, how many points do you need if Wuyue plans to buy T-Pillar Teacher as his maid? Finally, is there anyone who wants to ask a question, said Zhu Zuo Zhi. Wuyue has a lot of things to ask Zhu Zuo Zhi about, but there are too many people here and it's too noisy, which will affect him. Therefore, Wuyue plans to privately talk to this homeroom teacher. Zhu Zuo looked expressionlessly at the students excitedly discussing how to spend points, all of whom were already immersed in the joy of 100,000 yuan. Since no one has anything to ask, I wish you all a wonderful campus life. Also, today is the first day of enrollment and students are free to move around. Classes will only officially start tomorrow. Chaju Satoshi looked at Eri Sakura in the back seat and said, Eri Sakura, come over to the teacher's office. I have something to talk to you about. Hey. Sakura Eri, who has always been a little transparent, gave a cold and excited call. Why did the homeroom teacher specifically ask her to go out? Chaju Satoshi had no explanation for her thoughts. After saying these words to AI Sakura, she walked with her slender jade feet wrapped in black silk and left the noisy class. Sakura Eri looked pitifully at Wuyue, timid and afraid, wanting Wuyue to go with her. Wuyue and Eri Sakura had almost a telepathic connection, and as she looked over pitifully, Wuyue had already understood Eri Sakura's anxiety and expectations. With a smile on her face, Wuyue stood up with her on-campus phone and student ID and left the class, while Sakura Erihin happily followed Wuyue. Wuyue is not only to cheer up Eri Sakura, but also to obtain some intelligence through Sasaki Chaju. For example, what are the rules and conditions for obtaining points from others? So Wuyue and AI Li Sakura went to the teacher's office together to find Chaju and Saji, which can be considered a passing situation. Wuyue and Eri Sakura left Class D classroom one after another. As almost everyone was immersed in a huge sum of 100,000 yuan, not many people noticed their departure. However, Rinyan Hori and Kiyotaka Ayaka glanced at the two who had left. Amidst the noisy atmosphere in Class D, Yokosuke Hirata sat up in the front seat, looking like a model student, and said to everyone. Everyone, could you listen to me for a moment? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 9. So, what is your name? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Starting today, we will be living together in the same class. So, I think from now on, we will introduce ourselves spontaneously. If only we could become friends soon. Hirata Yosuke's words left Ayaka Kiyotaka lost in thought. How do ordinary high school students introduce themselves? He doesn't understand at all from the White Room. Due to the words of Chaju Satoshi, both Noye and Eri Sakura left Class D and missed the opportunity to introduce themselves to their classmates. However, neither Noye nor Eri Sakura would care. Because of his free and casual behavior, he doesn't intend to deliberately make friends with others. And let alone Eri Sakura, she is afraid of being timid. You want her to stand up and introduce herself to everyone. Isn't this persecution of her? So, even if Eri Sakura found out that she missed the class self-introduction with Noye, she wouldn't regret it and would only breathe a sigh of relief. Wuyue, who left the class, familiarized himself with the free mobile phone he received from school. This phone is similar to the phones on the market. Mobile phones have various functions such as calling, email, recording, and taking photos, all of which are available on campus phones. They even have installed various software provided by the school, and through these software, Wuyue has found the comics he has been chasing. No night, my student ID has 100,000 points. I'll treat you to a meal later, Akira Sakura exclaimed to Noye, who was familiar with her school phone. Okay, but in love, will you sit with me? Wuyue smiled and looked at this extremely shy childhood sweetheart. This. I will work hard. Eri Sakura clenched her tender white palm, cheering for herself, her pretty face full of seriousness. During her 3 years in high school, Eri Sakura will always be in the same class and school as Noye, so she wants to change her shy personality. If it's impossible to even stand upright by Noye's side, how can Eri Sakura become his girlfriend? Wuyue and Eri Sakura left the first grade teaching building and walked towards the teacher building on one side. As I walked towards the teacher building, Wuyue noticed many students resting and walking around. It seems that on the day of the first year of high school, senior students do not need to attend classes either. Wuyue and Airi Sakura entered the teacher's office where Cha Jusuo was located. As school started today, there were no other teachers in the teacher's office, only Cha Jusuo was present. "Teacher, I'm here." Sitting in her seat, Cha Zuo Zhi lifted her jade feet wrapped in black silk. She glanced at the timid Sakura Aili and then looked at Wuyue. At this moment, Wuyue was looking at the announcement screen in the teacher's office, which displayed the points of each class in the ABCD class of the second and third year of high school. The first time he entered the office, he looked at the class points, which was just right. Watching the T-pillars, Wuyue silently pondering in his heart. Only the class points for the second and third year of high school are displayed. Is the first year of high school not displaying those 1,000 class points because it has not yet passed the first month? Wuyue guessed and took out his school phone to take a photo of the announcement screen. The clicking sound of taking photos made Cha Zuo Zhi show a look of shock. With a hint of a strange color in her eyes, she spoke up and said, "Teacher's office, photography is prohibited." "Ah, is that so?" "Don't worry, Teacher Cha Zhu. I will delete the photo later," Wuyue replied with a smile. Cha Zuo Zhi looked deeply at Wuyue, and she didn't ask Wuyue to immediately delete the photo she had just taken. Moreover, Cha Zuo Zhi felt that the young man seemed to see something from the class points on the announcement screen. Even if he didn't see the information, he would have noticed something was wrong, otherwise he wouldn't have taken a photo of the announcement screen displaying class points. "Young man, what is your name?" said Cha Zuo Zhi, who was curious and hopeful about Wuyue. "As a homeroom teacher, you don't even know the students' names." "Yes, because the chairman has not yet sent the information of the students," replied Cha Zhu Satoshi. "Then you know her name is Eri Sakura," Wuyue pointed to Eri Sakura standing timidly beside her. Her situation was unexpected. Because Eri Sakura passed the abdication assessment, the chairman has already sent Eri Sakura's information and documents to the mobile phone of the homeroom teacher, Sasaki Chaju. So, among the students in class D for a year, Cha Jusuo only knew who was Sakura Eri. "So, what's your name?" "Sikong has no night." Chaju Satoshi nodded lightly and remembered the name of the student who seemed to have a keen observation ability. She turned her head to look at Eri Sakura. "Sakura, give me your student ID and the school will transfer 5,000 points to you." "Hey." Eri Sakura showed a bewildered expression. "Why does the school transfer 5,000 points to me?" "It's because of giving way in the car," Noye said, and Eri Sakura immediately recalled the old lady in the car. Cha Zuo Zhi looked at Wuyue in surprise. Her delicate and imposing face showed a slightly smiling expression, and without any hint, she even noticed why she received 5,000 points. "It's really amazing, Sikong Wuye." "That's right. Every time a new student enrolls in school, the school arranges personnel to make way for the assessment," said Cha Zuo Zhi, smiling with joy in her heart. "The purpose is to test whether new students will make way for the elderly. If new students choose to give way, they will receive a reward of 5,000 points. If school officials give way to others, new students will lose the opportunity to earn points. Teacher, you should give those 5,000 points to Wuyue." "It was he who proposed to make way," said Eri Sakura, who understood. "I don't care about that. Anyway, I'm only responsible for handing over 5,000 points to you. As for how you handle 5,000 points, it's up to you to decide." Eri Sakura said happily to Wuyue, "Wuyue, I'll transfer 5,000 points to you later." Now Wuyue has a feeling of being forced to eat soft food. Farewell, keep it in love, and treat me to a meal in the future. Well, that's good, Airi Sakura happily accepted. Wuyue casually clicked on a certain function on his campus phone, and kept watching his Sakura Airi discover that it was a recording function. Strange, why did he open the recording without night? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 10. Love, borrow me 50,000 points. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the confusion of Sakura Airi, Wuyue spoke to Cha Zhu and said, Teacher, I would like to confirm with you that on the first day of next month, we will still receive 100,000 personal points. The inquiry from Wuyue made Cha Zhu's eyes slightly squint. She said calmly, Sikong, I have already explained your question very clearly in class, haven't I? No, teacher, you're not clear at all. Wuyue shook her head. As far as I know, each month's personal points are linked to the class's class points. If the class points return to 0, then the next month will not receive any points. You. Cha Zuo Zhi looked at Wuyue with a calm and composed expression in shock. She couldn't believe it and said, You know so much about the S system. Under the shocked gaze of Cha Zuo Zhi, Wuyue revealed a handsome smile and said, So, teacher, do you admit to hiding something? Cha Zuo Zhi did not answer because of school regulations, she could not answer. School staff must fully conceal the S system during the first month of enrollment for new students. So even if Noye guesses correctly, Cha Zuo Zhi cannot answer. Airi Sakura, who was not very clever, looked blankly at the silent Cha Zhu and Satoshi, as well as the smiling Noye. She didn't quite understand what these two were saying. However, Airi Sakura probably knows that a personal score of 100,000 is not fixed and can vary. At this moment, the silent Cha Zuo Zhi's heart was filled with surprises. Among the D class she led this time, there seemed to be a treasure. Even before half a day of enrollment, I had already noticed the S system of this school. Cha Zuo Zhi doesn't know where this handsome young man learned about the S system, but it's not important. The important thing is that Cha Zuo Zhi saw from Wuyue's body the hope that his wild hope had been realized. Cha Zhu Satoshi was once one of the students in Class D of this school. At that time, Cha Zhusua, who was still a student, made a wrong decision and was unable to catch up with Class A in terms of grades despite not having a significant difference. Cha Zuo Zhi still hasn't let go. So, leading Class D to be promoted to Class A became the wild hope and obsession of Cha Zuo Zhi. However, unfortunately, there were no outstanding students in the 2 sessions of Class D that Cha Zhusua once led, so her wild hopes were never realized. Now it's different. Cha Zuo Zhi saw the treasure of Sikong Wuye, and surprisingly, he had already noticed the existence of the S system within half a day of enrollment. Cha Zuo Zhi's piercing gaze made Wuyue's forehead break into a cold sweat. Is this teacher planning to eat tender grass for an old cow? He looked at him like this. Teacher, since you don't intend to answer 100,000 points, let me change the question. Ask, Cha Zuo Zhi responded to Wuyue with a cheerful mood. I want to know if the school's promotion of a 100% admission and employment rate is true. Of course it's true, but... Cha Zuo Zhi blurted out and Wuyue smiled. But only students who graduated from Class A can enjoy this privilege, right? Cha Zuo looked at Wuyue with a wooden expression. The student in front of her was really a freshman in high school, not a graduate who had already graduated from a higher education institution in Tokyo. Why does this new student know more than senior high school students? The reason why Wuyue knew so much information related to this school was thanks to his mental reading ability, otherwise Wuyue would not have obtained so much information from that old lady's mind. Cha Zuo Zhi took a deep breath and looked at her with a brilliant ripple as she replied, I can't answer your guess. So, I'm sure if I want to know, how many points do I need to pay? Ha. Ha ha ha. Zhu Zuo Zhi couldn't help but let out a pleasant and cheerful laugh. The suddenly laughing homeroom teacher made Sakura Airi give a jolt, and their homeroom teacher seemed a bit abnormal. Zhu Zuo's eyes were filled with a smile, and as she restrained her laughter, she spoke to Wuyue, Sikong Wuye, do you mean that you want to purchase from me? Does this school's BCD class really have a 100% enrollment and employment rate? Is that so? Yes, Wuyue nodded. In class, you told us that anything from this school can be bought through points. So the answer I want to hear should also be in the ranks of purchasing points. Although Wuyue had already learned a lot about the school from the old lady's mind, he still needed Zhu Zuo Zhi to admit it personally, otherwise the convenient method of earning points that Wuyue had already thought of would be somewhat difficult to implement. Let me think, how many points do you have to pay? The cheerful Zhu Zuo Zhi picked up her chest with both hands, and the arms clasped together formed an unfathomable trench in her overly mature chest. Wuyue glanced at him and politely withdrew his gaze. Well. Just like in love, it's unfathomable. After careful consideration, Zhu Zuo Zhi seemed to reveal a specific number of points to Wuyue. Well, the answer you want to purchase, Sikong, is about 150,000 points. How about that? Do you still plan to trade with me? Zhu Zuo Zhi smiled provocatively at Wuyue. Is this young man willing to spend so many points to buy this answer? Zhu Zuo Zhi doesn't think so. You should know that the total number of points for this new student, Wuyue, is only 100,000, which is a gap of 50,000 compared to 150,000. Moreover, it is already known that only students graduating from Class A will enjoy the privileges of this school. So Zhu Zuo Zhi concluded that Wuyue would not spend points on it. However, Noye's answer surprised Zhu Zuo Zhi. Okay, 150,000 points, right. Wuyue turned to look at Airi Sakura standing next to her. Airi, lend me 50,000 points. Okay, no Knight, Akira Sakura, who nodded happily, asked Sakura Satoshi, teacher, how do I need to transfer points? Zhu Zuo looked at Sakura Airi in surprise. The girl's face showed a joyful expression, and she did not show any signs of distress or reluctance because her points were borrowed by Wuyue halfway. Sakura, you should know that points are equivalent to money in school. Are you willing to lend him 50,000 points like this? Don't you worry about not getting them back, said Zhu Sakura. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.